You like, ooh, 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 she got me, she got me. I ain't done nothing since I put them in the ground. Let's fix that. And you say it with your mouth, but your actions, you have at least 75 days. Do not give up. We are in the final stretch or more. You can still put some stuff in the ground. July is the month that I see many gardeners make or break their gardens. There is a difference between what you do in July and the results that you get. If you do the things that I mentioned in this video, it can make all the difference between whether you're still harvesting food in August or September or your garden ends in July. I'm talking in this video the top 10 mistakes that I see gardeners making specifically in the month of July. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee, and I am so glad that you are here. Please say hello in the comments so I can say hello back to you. And for those that have been here before, thank you so much for continuing to show up each and every time and rocking with me. I'm excited to do this video today because we're right in the middle of July, and this is the time that I need you to dig in. Do not lose hope. I know that many of you may have already had some summer garden disappointments, but I want you to pay attention, get some notes, maybe put me in your ear while you're washing dishes, doing all the things, but make sure that you get these 10 things that I see gardeners making as a mistake in the month of July. Mistake number 1 that I see happening in the month of July is when it comes to the fall garden. You are waiting too late to start your fall garden. You are so entrenched in your summer garden. You're harvesting, you're doing all the things, and you want a fall garden, and you say it with your mouth, but your actions don't start till like September, and that is absolutely too late. That is the biggest mistake. July is the time to have a dual purpose. You're attending to the summer garden, but you're also paying attention and getting prepared for your fall garden. And so if you are wanting to have a fall garden and you have not ordered your seeds, you have not started seeds, this is the time to do it right now in the month of July. Now, while we're on this topic, let me go ahead and make sure that you know that I am doing a fall gardening workshop. So I'm not leaving you out here by yourself. If you need help with your fall garden, the workshop is this Sunday, July the 26th from 2 to 4. I will be live. The workshop is virtual, so you can tune in from anywhere, but I will be live to walk you through what to plant, when to plant, how to make sure that your crops extend into the first frost, all the things that you need, how to amend your beds, everything that you need to get set up and have a beautiful, abundant fall garden will be in the workshop. And then I will be able to take your questions live. Now, the difference between you reading online or going to a free webinar versus coming to mine that is paid, the main difference is this, is that you're going to have access to me to get your questions answered, right? There are many gardeners doing some workshops, and there's some that are big, and there's tons of people that's going to be joining them, but in order you get your questions answered, that is probably not likely going to be the case. If you join a webinar with 1,000 people, your question being answered probably won't happen. But when you join a workshop of mine, I make sure that every question is answered. You do not leave confused. You do not leave overwhelmed. You have a blueprint and a plan. That is why I'm calling this the Fall Garden Blueprint Workshop. The link to register will be down in the description box, and I will also make it the first comment. So please join me if you need help with your fall garden. Now, if you don't need my help, let me just tell you, go ahead and make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do right now in the month of July to get your fall garden in order. Here's the second mistake. Mistake number 2 that I see gardeners making in the month of July is that they do not succession plant. I have talked about this over and over, and I will continue to talk about it because my goal is for you to have a thriving, abundant garden. One of the ways that you get to abundance is succession planting. And so many gardeners, they will plant their gardens in April and May, and whatever they get, they're happy with, but then they have wasted space in their beds that have been open. They have space that they could have used. They have more food that they could have provided for their family if they just would have succession planted. Now, succession planting, if you are a new gardener, that simply means that you're going to plant the same crop multiple times in successions or in intervals, okay? So I may plant green beans at the beginning, the first week of May, and I'm going to plant them again in June, and I plant them again in July. That way I have a continuous harvest all throughout the summer, especially things that once you pick them, they're no longer there. So for example, with my corn, we planted corn in the ground in April. We harvested that corn at the first part of July, and now I already have another succession of corn in the ground. But I've also succeeded cucumber, squash, beans, all of the things. And so this is a mistake that I see gardeners making. Right now, at the time of this video, I want you to know what is your estimated first frost. For me, I have 90 more days until my estimated first frost. So that means for me, I can still succession plant anything that has a maturity date of, I would say, to be on the safe side, 75 days or less, okay? And so if you know your estimated first frost date and you have at least 75 days or more, you can still put some stuff in the ground. You can put cucumbers in the ground. You can put green beans in the ground because they're like 45, 50 days, okay? So that is a mistake that I see a lot of gardeners make, is that they don't take the time, or they're not intentional about succession planting. And so make sure that if you have not done so and you still have time, that you go ahead and put that on your to-do list this weekend. Okay, number 3, the third mistake that I see gardeners making is not being on top of the fertilization and letting your heavy feeding plants go hungry. In the month of July, you have things that are heavy feeders. Like if you're doing corn, it's a heavy feeder. If you're doing tomatoes, it's a heavy feeder. Those things specifically need extra fertilization during the summer months. Now, again, it's very hot. If you're living where I'm living or anywhere close, it is hot. You don't want to fertilize in the middle of the day. You want to fertilize at the top of the morning when it is cool, below 70 degrees, ideally, or below 80 degrees, ideally, or in the evening. Now, again, if your evening is still 85, that may be too hot for your plants to get fertilized. And so find a time that the right temperature, and make sure that you are feeding those plants. Now, again, if you lay down amendments and fertilization when you first put your plants in April or May, by now, that stuff, even if it's a slow release, it is on its way being depleted, especially if you are in an area that has received a lot of rain like me. Rain leaches the nutrients out of your plants. And so you want to make sure that you are feeding your plants throughout the summer at the right times and at the right interval. So don't make that mistake. If you like, ooh, she got me. I ain't done nothing since I put them in the ground. Let's fix that. Let's change that. Put that on your to-do list this weekend. Okay. Mistake number 4 is that I see a lot of people watering the wrong way. And so let me give you the ideal way to water, and then wherever you can get close to that, you do that. Ideally, you want to water the soil, the roots, not your plant's leaves. Now, I say that is the ideal. Also, you want to water, if you have a choice between watering shallow or deep, you want to water deeply and consistently. Watering shallow does not allow your plants to put their roots in the ground and to grow down into the ground. You want your plant to have roots deep down in the ground. One reason for that is because the soil is going to be a lot cooler the further down you go. And so it's going to help protect your plant from heat stress and things like that. Now, that is the ideal. So ideally, a drip irrigation system that is watering at the roots and that you have it on a timer is the ideal. Now, if you don't have drip irrigation and you are watering with a sprinkler, because that's how I started. I know what it's like to water with a sprinkler or to water with a hose pipe. If you have a hose pipe that you are doing manually, direct the water at the soil level, at the roots, not on the leaves. When you are watering your leaves, it creates extra moisture on your plant's leaves, and that invites disease and pest pressure. So I see people making this mistake a lot. They either are watering their leaves, they're just going out there watering the leaves, and or they're watering too shallow. Water deeply. It is better for you to water deeply and consistently, even if that's every other day, versus watering shallow for 5 minutes every day. Okay? So make sure that your plants are getting sufficient moisture, especially if you're in an area that has extreme heat, extreme humidity. Now, if you are in an area that has been getting a lot of rain like me, they're getting rain from, they're getting the free water, right? And so you may not have to be watering as much. Now, if you have drip, make sure that you're staying on top of your drip schedule. If you have a lot of rain every other day, then turn your drip off so they're not getting overly saturated or waterlogged, okay? So make sure that you stay on top of your water needs in the month of July and beyond. Now let's move on to mistake number 5. Okay, mistake number 5 is ignoring or not being on pest patrol early enough. You're ignoring pest problems until they get out of control. Now, we've talked about this before, and so I want to give a gentle reminder is that if at all possible, you have to walk your garden every single day. Every single day, you have to look at your leaves. You have to see, okay, am I seeing brown? Are my leaves drooping? Are they curling under? Like, know your plants and know what is odd for your plant's behavior. And notice when you see pests, okay? If you can take care of the pest immediately when you see it, you're going to have a far better chance of not having an infestation or having huge damage to your crops if you can catch it early. I call it pest patrol. You got to be on pest patrol. So one, look at your plants and how they're looking. Has it changed since yesterday? Do you actually see pests? Are you looking underside the leaves? Do all of that to make sure that in July, it does not take your crop out. I have seen many gardeners get real lazy or get real like low key, laissez-faire, or they have an area of their garden that's not doing well and they've given up on the whole garden, but you have a plant over here that was thriving, but in 2 days you've had aphids come in, you've had hornworms come in, they've taken and decimated your whole plant. Don't let that be the case. Have I had that happen? Yes, I have. I'm speaking from experience. So as much as possible, stay on top of pest patrol, making sure that you don't ignore your pest problems or say, I'm going to get to it tomorrow. Handle it as soon as you see it so that you don't have a widespread infestation. Okay, y'all, I had to go put on my hat. It's getting warm out here. So I'm out here early as possible because we are going to be under a heat index later on today. So let's move on to number 6. Number 6 mistake is waiting too long to harvest. Now, I call this the summer press. We know what we signed up for when it came to the garden. Now, obviously, we have life happens, and some of us have more time than others, so you may not be able to get out there every day. But try your best to not wait too long to harvest. The longer you wait to harvest, you are sending a signal to the plant like, hey, we good, we don't need it anymore, and or you are letting the pests come in and get your stuff before you do. And so when I am in town, I am making a practice every single day to go out to my garden and to harvest. Now there's days when I'm not in town, okay, and the plants sit there, they may get bloated and all that. I can't help that, but what I can control is that when I'm here. And so if you are in town, if you have the time, go out there 15 minutes at the end of the evening, before dinner, after dinner, before it gets dark, and harvest what you can. Don't wait too late to harvest your stuff. When you are harvesting during peak production and you're keeping the plants harvested, it sends a signal to the plants to produce more. When you slow down harvesting, then it slows down the production as well. So make sure that you're staying on top of that. Now let's talk about number 7. The 7th mistake that I see gardeners making is once you harvest it, you're letting your harvest pile up and you do not have a preservation plan. Now, I have been doing videos this summer. I already have 2 videos out about what I'm doing with my harvest when I bring it into the house. You guys have seemed to love that. I will call it like a series. And so there's 2 videos. I will pop one up here and you can go and find the other one. What do I do when I bring the food into the house? You must have a preservation plan. Now, what I teach is that before you even grow the crop, you need to know how you're going to use it. If you're going to use it fresh, how you're going to preserve it, and all the things. But let's just say we didn't think about that in March like we were supposed to. It is now July. I want you to think about everything that's growing in your garden. Do you have a plan to preserve it? And making sure that once you bring it into the house, that you are taking care of it as immediately as you can. Now, I know that for a lot of you, just like me, it ain't immediate. It's like 2 or 3 days later. But do not let it pile up, because when it piles up and it stays too long, it's going to go bad on your counter. And then all of your work from planting the seed, buying the transplant, putting it in the ground, all of your work will be for naught. Okay, let's move on to number 8. One of the mistakes that I see gardeners making, number 8, is this, is that you are just neglecting the pruning, the maintenance of the garden. Again, I say all of this with this is the ideal. I understand that life happens and that the summertime can be busy just with your family and personal life. But in terms of mistakes and things that can make or break your garden is staying on top of the maintenance, the pruning, and all of that stuff. When you don't prune, I had somebody, I think I mentioned this in a video. I saw somebody or was talking to somebody that has a garden, and they were telling me that their tomatoes are out of control. He was like, I don't even know where the root is anymore. Like he said, it is a lost cause. They did not prune. They have tomatoes all growing together, and it's a nightmare, right? And so as much as possible, keep your things pruned. When you see damaged or diseased leaves, go ahead and take those off. Pull the weeds. If you only have 5 minutes, go through and get the weeds real quick. Do whatever you can to have general maintenance, to help with pruning, and to help with airflow. All of that is going to do a world of wonders for your plants. It is hot. The plants can be stressed because of the heat, because of the humidity. They need every advantage they can get. They got to be watered. They got to be fertilized. They need the disease stuff taken away. They need to be pruned, right? If your basil is out of control, prune it. If you're not going to use it, give it to a friend, bring it to the house, make you some basil salt, do whatever it takes. But go ahead, and I've even done this before. Things that I don't need or that I know that I don't have time to preserve, I will go ahead and prune it. I will take the tops of it off just to keep the plant growing and producing until I need it, right? And so I have done that many a times. I've put it in my compost pile. Shh, don't tell nobody. Yes, I have. Because the greater good is that the plant keeps producing, because I may have next week when I can preserve basil and maybe this week that I can't. But if I let it keep going and going and not prune and harvest it, then it'll stop. So the greater good is for the plant to produce more food. And so whatever it takes. So that means I have to chop it and cut it off and put that in my compost pile because I don't have a plan or I'm about to go out of town. I have done that many a times, okay? So make sure that you're staying on top of general maintenance, pruning, taking away disease leaves, and all the things. Now let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is a big one. I see this so much in the month of July, is that gardeners will give up in this month right here because your garden is not going as planned. Your garden's looking rough. It's not pristine. It's you know, you got 5 tomato plants that's out of hand, but your green beans are looking good. But because your tomato plants are looking bad, you like, let me just throw out the baby with the bathwater. I have seen it happen too many times. Have I been there? Absolutely. Y'all, I went through my garden yesterday. Last week, my garden was looking way more beautiful. I come back in town, I look through my garden, I'm like, my tomatoes look diseased, they look damaged, all the things. That's what happens in the month of July. That is what happens. It happens every single year. Why I'm surprised? I don't know. I shouldn't be surprised. But I have other stuff that is still thriving. And even though those plants look bad, I was able to bring in, I think, 7 baskets of produce just yesterday. And a lot of my stuff is not looking great. A lot of it is not producing. Some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. But you know what? I still have food to bring in, and I still have other plants that need my care and my attention. And I have the stuff that I've done for the second succession that's just now getting going. And so if I focus on what is not going well, if I focus on my prized tomato plants that I really, really wanted, my heirlooms that I was going to make me a great BLT, and those plants are suffering, and I forget about the basil and the green beans and the cucumbers and the sunflowers that are doing well, don't do that. Do not give up. We are in the final stretch. I say the final stretch because, listen, fall will be here in 6 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks, okay? But the temperatures are going to change. The summer garden is going to start winding down. In 6 weeks, y'all, it's going to be the 1st of September. Don't give up. Stay locked in. Stay committed to the stuff that is growing. If you can fix what's not growing well, fix it. But if you have stuff that is still growing well, then focus your attention on that. Do not give up in the 9th inning, okay? We right across the finish line. It's not time to give up. And for many of you like me, I got 90 more days. Girl, get yourself in the game. You can do this, okay? So, number 10. The 10th mistake is this. It's failing to plan for what comes next, okay? So that kind of loops me back to number 1 where we started. The next season is fall. If you have blinders on right now, and you are not thinking about fall, but you want a fall garden, let me tell you, take the blinders off. You're going to have a dual focus. Now, if you've already decided I don't want a fall garden, then you don't have to worry about it. But I would encourage you that if you have gone through the summer and the summer has drugged you and beat you up, honey, there is redemption in the fall. There is redemption in the fall. Some of y'all been bruised and beaten and battered by this summer garden. There is hope in the fall. Fall is the best time to grow food. Pest pressure, don't have to worry about it. Heat, don't have to worry about it. I'm telling you, y'all, in the fall, I'm on easy street compared to the summer garden. And so my message is, if you can just hang on, if you can just not give up in the 9th inning of the summer, but also look ahead to the fall, and go ahead and start thinking and dreaming about cabbage and collard greens and kale and spinach and y'all, and lettuce. Come on. Listen, you know they always say you don't want something until you can't have it. How about I've been thinking about salads for the last week because of this virus? I ain't thought about no salad. I don't grow a lot of lettuce in the summer because it is you have to find a heat tolerant variety and you have to pay special attention to it. Can you grow lettuce in the summer? You can, but it's not just as simple as growing it in the fall. Let me just say that. And so I have not done it this year. Right? But all of a sudden, because I can't have lettuce, all of a sudden I want lettuce. Does that make sense? And so if nothing else, grow you some lettuce this fall. Why? Because you can. Because you can. And so number 10 is, you as a gardener, you always have to be thinking to the next season ahead. You always have to be thinking about what's in front of you. That is the life of a gardener. Okay? And so in the month of July, it's time to lock in. It's not time to get up. It's not over. It's not over. We're at the halfway point for most of us. We're at the halfway point. It's time to lock in. It's time to dig in. So y'all, these are the mistakes that I see people making in the month of July. And so what I want to know from you, meet me in the comments. Let me know which one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, or whichever one got your attention the most. You're like, guilty. I'm guilty. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. I hope that you will keep the faith. I say all this, y'all, and this is a top 10 ideal list. I want to just emphasize, I recognize that you are busy, that you're a mom, that you're a father, that you're taking care of parents, you're taking care of children, that you got baseball games, you got summer vacation, you got work on your neck. I understand all of that. And still, I'm asking you to push a little bit harder, to show up a little bit more if you can. Because if you're like me, you started with a lot of hope at the beginning of the summer season. You started with a lot of expectation. And I want you to reap the reward. I want you to have your counters full of stuff. I want you to be able in the wintertime to go out to your freezer and pull that pack of green beans that you grew this summer because you didn't give up. Can you do that? I think you can. I think you can. Y'all, I appreciate you so much. We have a lot of new people that have joined. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. I do not take for granted that you take time out of your day to spend time with me, whether I'm in your ear, whether you got me on the big screen, as some people say when I see them, whether you have me, you listen to me on your way to work, whatever it is, I do not take it for granted. Because you guys keep showing up, I keep showing up. Because you guys keep showing up, it encourages me to go a little bit further. When I feel like I don't have anything else to give, I read a comment and I'm like, I got some more to give. I have some more to give. So y'all, whenever you hear this video, I hope that it encourages you. I hope it gives you a blueprint. If you need help with the fall garden, make sure that you sign up for the workshop. Remember, y'all, this is all a journey. Let's do it together. I'll see you next time, friend. Thanks so much for stopping by our channel. And if you would, take a moment and go to our website at livingfoodsfarm.com. You can see all of the latest YouTube videos in case you missed one. You can subscribe to the channel, sign up for our email list, as well as join our YouTube membership. Also, we have many items for sale under the shop tab. You can go to kitchen or to skin and body, depending on what you're looking for. We source many of the items right here from things that we grow on the farm, or we buy from an organic source. We also have digital resources as well that you can instantly download. We have everything from seed starting calculators, how to build healthy soil, as well as 2-hour classes, replays on sourdough, canning, and fall gardening, and how to start your garden for the very first time. So go take a look, see if there's anything that you would be interested in, and thank you so much again for stopping by our channel.